Welcome to Nutmeg Sports for a Wednesday edition here on the HAN Network. I'm Rob Adams. Right now, Donald Eng off doing the Monroe Courier routine. He is, of course, the very fine editor of that newspaper. We'll try to talk with him during the show if possible. Otherwise, we'll catch up with him next week. Dave Stewart, however, is back on the program today, but in telephone form. So we're happy to have him along as we get ready for baseball. But we have to start by looking back at yesterday and really, and I'll bring Dave on right now to start. Dave, a definitive, emphatic win for the Darien Blue Wave over the New Canaan Rams.
Oh, definitely. They looked the part of a number one seed and a number one team right now, and you got to hand it to them. When they needed to, they made some adjustments at halftime. Put Katie Cronin in it, to take the draws, and she did a great job. And the thing about girls lacrosse is possession is, without the ball you can't score. And New Canaan almost went the whole second half without scoring, which is incredible given the talent they have. And, Darien just did a number on them in that second half. So, Darien definitely looking like a number one seed right now and looking like a championship team.
And even, 10-9 at the half with New Canaan able to get a late Catherine Granito goal to get it back to 1. But and New Canaan had a lead at one point in the first half. I never had the sense that New Canaan could win this game. It just felt like Darien had an answer every time. You mentioned Cronin. I thought Anna Stein was particularly good. And, of course, the star of the show, really, there were two of them, Carly Shadell in net once again, but Chandler Kirby with 7 goals. She was amazing.
Yeah, both of those teams have so many weapons, and Darien's were looking fine for them yesterday. It's interesting because you look at that first half. Talking to Kristen Woods, the New Canaan coach, after the game, she was happy with the way New Canaan was approaching the first half because they were aggressive. They took the ball to the net when they had it. They didn't really throw things away. 10-9 game at halftime, girls lacrosse is obviously anything can happen at that point. And then the second half was a completely different story. And it was all Darien from start to finish. And it started early. They scored a quick one and then just kept tacking them on. And, it's really something the way Darien played. You wonder if the second time this New Canaan can maintain staying close, that is, if they do meet again, it would likely be in the SCF championship if they did, because like the boys, they're not in the same state class anymore, right. Which is unfortunate, but you wonder if they can maintain that from the first half into the second half. But New Canaan did lead 8-6 late in the first half, but you knew Darien wasn't going to just sit there and say that lead's going to hold for a long time.
Before we kind of assess how this game worked out, why don't we take a look at the highlights? Dave and I will come back and talk after that before we take our first break. But right now, from Darien High School, let's look at yesterday's highlights. Darien and New Canaan here on Nutmeg Sports. She awaits the whistle, makes her approach, throws it home, 2-1. And it's taken right back by the Blue Wave, and a quick shot on net. Emma Jake puts it home.
Braden Dial again with a really close look at the net, and looked like she lost the handle as she got in close to make the shot.
Another try down low and scoring. So the Rams able to tie it right back up. 4-3, 12:24 to go in the first half. Splitting defenders, Murphy alone, she puts it home. Carly Bucci goes back behind the cage. It's a 5-4 game. Those numbers do get a little hard to see as they're able to score. The ball gets rolled out 15 yards for the free position there.
It looks like the Wave were offside. Cronin was the extra player back over the attack zone line.
So down goes, looks like Armstrong to score it. 1:02 to go in the half. So it'll be Laura Murphy out of the free position. Looks like they'll line her up 11 yards out. Work her just toward the far side. Starts her approach, she'll take the shot and throws it in. I agree, because so often the timeout isn't necessarily about setting a play. This down close to Granito, one-on-one, scores!
Goal!
Darien will take the lead into the locker room or off to the sideline at 10-9 from the free position. Laura Murphy, the approach, the shot, and the goal. Now a 4-goal lead. It's 13-9. Nearly stolen away by the Rams initially as Ojimek almost grabbed it, but sent right down, looking close on net, all alone, yes. Kaylee Morrill joins the party, and it's a 17-9 game. Shots 27-25 in favor of the Blue Wave and 19-10 on the scoreboard. And an emphatic win as on net it goes, and it's going to go to 20-10 with Laura Murphy. Darien emphatically with a 20-10 win over the New Canaan Rams. Clearly, as I said in the broadcast, an emphatic win for Darien. Again, 20-10 was the final score, a 10-1 second half run, Dave. And as we kind of bring it back here, how do the Rams look at this game? Do they just kind of lick their wounds and say, all right, let's put that one in the past, or do they learn from that game yesterday? How do the Rams walk away from this?
I think you got to do a little bit of both, but I think it's more a matter of just going out the next game and trying to get back to the things that made them successful, has made them successful all season. They really, when you look at it, they only have 2 losses now. They're 12-2 overall. They have a game against Norwalk to finish up, and then they have a game against Longmeadow, Mass. They're going to make the road trip up there on the 17th for their final game of the regular season, and that's a tough Massachusetts team. They played them last year and beat them down at Dunning. So they've got these 2 games to go. They've got 2 games to kind of rework things and get back on track for the SCAC tournament, which it's going to be an interesting one because you do have a few teams in there. There's always Ridgefield and Wilton, who are Greenwich and Wilton, which are the perennials, and then you've got a Ridgefield team which is playing very well this year. So top 5 seeds are all going to be pretty strong. 6, 7, and 8, it remains to be seen. There's a lot of teams like kind of hovering around 500, including that Norwalk team that still has to play New Canaan. So we'll see how that goes. But that top 5 is very strong and has some it has the usual contenders and then the Ridgefield team, which is in there, which is playing very well.
Yeah, I mean, Ridgefield with a great win of their own yesterday, 13-3 over Stanford. They're 13-1 on the year, so they look pretty good also. But again, much like with girls ice hockey, it just seems like until Darien kind of, messes up, Darien needs to make a mistake before somebody knocks them off the top.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the same way in the boys lacrosse too. And basically it's Darien, and then like you said, it's their number 1 until somebody knocks them down to number 2. And as strong as New Canaan's been in girls lacrosse right now, obviously Darien has shown that right now they deserve that top spot and they deserve that place in the standings. We'll see how it goes in the tournament, because the tournament is a different animal. But right now it would be hard to bet against Darien, either in the boys or the girls.
Dave and I have to catch up on a few other things. We will do so after this break. We'll come back with more of Nutmeg Sports. Dave Stewart on the line with us. I'm Rob Adams. You're watching Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
I think what makes ONS special is that it has everything that makes academic medicine great. We have the fellowship-trained specialists, but we still bring the style and type of medicine that's indicative of a community practice.
We are all trained in our area of interest and expertise, so our patients see a doctor who specializes in their particular injury.
I did have 2 consults with major New York City hospitals, but I just felt that the care was best here. I was treated like a rock star. The surgery exceeded any expectations that I had.
Can't wait for it to get warmer so you can start fishing again? Get over to the Dock Shop, where they have the latest in fishing tackle, marine electronics, boating supplies, and more. But remember, the Dock Shop isn't your average tackle shop. You'll also find the finest selection of nautical apparel, jewelry, home decor, and gifts in New England. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where automation will never replace consideration. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. I'm Rob Adams. Dave Stewart on the phone with us today. We'll get Dave back in studio, but Dave, as we know, spring, all these 4 o'clock games, it's a lot of running around at this time of year.
Oh yeah, it's really something else. And just on a different note, quickly, I'm going to a boys tennis game today, New Canaan and Staples, and Staples is the perennial contender for the FCX championship, but New Canaan is the last undefeated team in the league now, beating Wilton yesterday. Wilton was undefeated. So there's a lot of good boys tennis going on right now with, you've got Greenwich in that mix and Wilton and Buchanan and Darien's in that too. Darien seems to be in everything. So, all those teams are very good. It's going to be a great tournament.
You bring up a great point, not only tennis, but a moment on even golf. We talked off the air yesterday about Max Theodorakis. What a player he is.
Oh, he's great. There's a bunch of guys in the league that are playing right now. I think really when you look at it in terms of the name guys, he's the guy who stands out. Justin Clark of New Canaan is just playing. Yeah, he's been phenomenal since his freshman year, and he's a senior now, and he's been playing great. New Canaan's undefeated, and he's playing. He's the medalist almost every match out, and Danbury has the one loss, and those two guys are going to be going against each other today. New Canaan and Danbury are playing each other, so you're going to have two of the best on the same course at the Country Club in New Canaan today. So that's another good one. So. A lot of good golf, a lot of good tennis in the FCAC right now, both boys and girls.
And volleyball, of course, and yeah, it's a good time of year. There's a lot of good things going on. Let's turn our attention, though, to baseball, because I have been talking about it, and I have been saying that this is a very wide-open conference. Yes, Darien is at 10-2. They're at the top right now. They have a 2-game lead, or a game-and-a-half lead, actually, on Greenwich all of a sudden. Let's start there. The Greenwich Cardinals, out of nowhere, have kind of come, flying into the playoff seedings. They're in second right now at 8-3. How about the Cardinals?
Yeah, and that just goes to show you too in baseball. You get hot for a week, you're back in the playoff picture. It's not like some other sports where if you fall too far behind, you're just done and you're just trying to work your way back and maybe qualify for the state. Baseball, if you look at the standings right now, they're a mess, really, to put it mildly. But Greenwich has been a hot team, and they have. I believe they're playing Ludlow today,
right?
Or at Ludlow up at Kiwanis Field,
yep.
and then Trinity tomorrow, and they have a game against McMahon on Friday. So they have a lot of games coming rapid fire at them. But I have to think, looking at them on paper right now. They definitely be favored against Ludlow and Trinity right now. Trinity is struggling, so that might be a couple more wins before they get to McMahon, which is another team that's in the playoff hunt right now. So Greenwich is looking really good now to move up there. Darien's been the steady Eddie, so to speak, at the top of the league the whole season, and they seem to be the one team that's been able to avoid those ups and downs. But Greenwich is just one loss behind them right now with 3 losses in the league. So you never know. That could easily flip flop by the end of the year.
Regarding the Cardinals, 5-1 in their last 6, but the other thing, Eric Gendron and I are passing notes between each other. 4 wins in a row on the road, a 5th straight road game today, as you mentioned, against Ludlow, and they have outscored their opponents 32-8 in that stretch. And they, it's not like they're beating, Punch and Judy's here. They're beating Ward. Stanford's not a bad team at all. They beat Danbury 13-2. I was really impressed by that victory for the Cardinals as well. So they're playing very good baseball. That's a team to keep an eye out for.
Oh, definitely. And there's so much when you look at so many different storylines when you look at this right now. The Staples Wreckers, who, honestly on paper may have the most talent in the league. They're sitting down at tied for the 7th place with Danbury. They still have to play the Hatters next week. And, really, if you're a number 1 or a number 2 seed and then all of a sudden you wake up in the first round, you got to play Staples, what kind of reward is that? That's a tough team to be sitting just over 500 in league and looking at a seed where, you could see them they always seem to be able to make a run at the end of the year, and, they could do it again this year.
You mentioned Danbury, Staples. They're both tied for 7th. Then there's Wilton in the 9th slot right now, out of the playoff picture at 6-5. We get to see Wilton against Staples later today at Staples Field. And again, I'm fascinated by that game because the Warriors have really kind of battled their way through their season. They told us they were not, despite losses to graduation, that they were going to be in the thick of it, and they're very much in the thick of it. The question is, can they get into the playoffs? And it starts with a big game today in my mind.
That one's immense, given the fact that both teams are right on the cusp of the bubble right now. They're one's just inside and one's just outside. So, obviously the winner today is gets a leg up for that that final playoff spot or at least a playoff spot. And the other one has got to make up some ground now in a very short period of time because there's time's fading away. There's a lot of games still to play. Primarily because of last week's poor weather, really knocked the schedule for a loop. And you've got some non-conference games in there for some of these teams, which will be important in terms of state seedings, in some cases in terms of qualifying. But it's going to be a wild last week of the season, and there's a lot of teams with a lot of games to play in a short period of time. You wonder if that'll have an effect on teams that do get to the tournament as well.
Absolutely true, because you've got to consider these poor arms and what they're going through. Darien at 13-2 at the top of the top of the FCAC, and the only team that is getting any respect at the state level. They're 10-2 overall, and I believe it's actually, I think, 14-2 now, Dave. Is that correct overall?
That would be 14-2. They did beat St. Joe's yesterday, I believe. So they would have 4 games left. So they're 14-2.
And to that end, we'll have Mike Scott, their head coach, on the program next Monday. He is scheduled to be with us, and haven't talked to Coach Scott, so that will be a good spot for us as well. So, who falls out in the end? I mean, I'm not necessarily asking you to dig into the crystal ball, but who's that team that's going to fall by the wayside?
It's really too difficult to tell, because just when you think you've got a handle on it, something happens where another team pops up and sneaks in. I think, it'll be interesting to see. I guess the biggest game on the schedule, really, if you're talking about seedings, not necessarily qualifying, is Greenwich is playing Darien next Monday, I believe. And that'll be at Darien. But like you said, it doesn't seem to matter. The Greenwich playing on the road, that could be for the top seed. This game today that HAN Network's still in Wilton and Staples, that's a huge game. The loser of that could be the answer to your question: who falls out? It's still too early to say in the way things have gone. You say a team's out of it, and then all of a sudden they win 3 in a row, and another team loses a couple of games, and guess what? They're right in it, and they end up being like a 4 or 5 seed. So it's tough to say right now. I guess the one team I'm kind of surprised that they don't seem to be as high as they were at the beginning of the year as McMahon. They're down to 5-7 in the league, and they've kind of slipped back of the pack after a very good start. But again, if they finish strong and win a few games here, they could be right back in.
And you've got some teams that really have a lot of games left in the season, as you alluded to a moment ago, Greenwich being one of them with 7 games to play, while Wilton only has 4 games remaining. It's fascinating to see how this whole schedule will break down and how the weather has really messed with these teams.
Oh, that really has. I mean, and it's kind of been that way. It was that way early in the season, too, and then we had a period there where every game got in, even when it was chilly or unseasonably cold, and it's just that rain last week really knocked everything for a loop. New Canaan, of course, the team I cover, they have a game still to play against New Fairfield, which they're going to play on the 19th, and that's a game that was either their first or second scheduled game of the year, and got snowed out at that point, and they've been trying to make that up for obviously since the beginning of the year, and they rescheduled it for Saturday, and of course it rained on Friday and all week long, and the field wasn't ready. So again, it got pushed back. It went from being one of their first games to one of their last games, and for them that may be key to getting into the States right now, because they have 5 wins. They need to win 3 of their last 5, and it could come down to that.
Great stuff, Dave. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we will chat and go back to the FCAC Tour and talk to members of the Wilton baseball team, so you can meet them for a moment as we get ready for Staples and Wilton coming up 4:30 today. A little bit of a later start right here on the HAN Network. But you're watching Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Chop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Do you need help reaching or maintaining your fitness goals? For over 20 years, Mike Pernice has tailored his time and expertise to clients on both coasts whose schedules demand flexibility and accountability. Mike is a certified lifestyle manager and has been called upon to help his clients eliminate negative behaviors such as coping with stress, improving their time management, setting realistic life goals, and cutting down compulsive behavior. If you're ready to start working toward a more energetic, productive, and healthier you, call Mike Pernice.
A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with a Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
Alberto Londano Professional Painting, Wallpapering, and Carpentry has been serving Fairfield County for over 20 years. Based in Norwalk, Alberto takes pride in his work by offering you only the best quality service and products. Call Alberto today to get a free estimate and be one step closer to a new and exciting home makeover. 203-866-9635.
When it comes to local entertainment, we've got it all.
From movies, local artists, etiquette, and more.
Watch HAN Arts and Leisure every Thursday at 2 on the HAN Network.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
Back with you on Nutmeg Sports for our final segment on this Wednesday edition on the HAN Network. I'm Rob Adams, Eric Gendron directing today. Thanks to Dave Stewart. We do have baseball coming up, as Dave and I discussed in that last segment, and it really is a big baseball game between Wilton and Staples over at Staples Field. Now, Wilton coming off a 2-0 win over Trumbull, so another playoff-bound team, at least right now. Jack Mastriano won the matchup with a 2-hit performance. I mean, outstanding job there. So, what can they do? Can the Warriors keep it going against this record team that has been so inconsistent, and a lot of that having to do to injuries, and again, a very tough FCAC. But, they beat McMahon 3-0 on Monday, did Wilton, so Wilton on a little bit of a roll right now. Can they keep it going? That's what we have to find out today. But, of course, we are going to go back to the FCAC tour and visit with the Wilton Warriors. And again, Mike Scott, the head coach of Darien. We thought we'd have Richard Brereton with us on Monday, but with many of these students doing internships now, time-wise, it's a little tougher for them to join us on the show. But Mike Scott scheduled to be on and talk with us, hopefully a player as well. In any event, off to Wilton High School we go. Let's meet the Wilton Warriors captains as you saw them right here on the FCAC Tour on the HAN Network. For all of us here on Nutmeg Sports, I'm Rob Adams. See you at 4:30 for baseball later on today. It's been a long time in baseball since the Wilton Warriors have been able to call themselves defending champions, but that's what they are. With Tim Murphy, I'm Rob Adams on the HAN Network. As we're at Wilton High School, we'll let the members of the baseball team introduce themselves, and we'll talk some baseball. We'll start here. Who are you?
I'm Colin Cahal, returning junior, and I play second base.
I'm Henry Stremecki. I'm a junior, and I play outfield.
I'm Henry Hovland. I'm a senior, and I play first base.
Colin, let's start by going back to last year. What a game, extra innings to beat Staples, and I'm sure it's a lot of pressure coming in as the defending champions. What are you thinking as the season gets started?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of pressure, but I think we'll play well under it. We have a lot of guys. We had one of the best JV teams in the state, and I think developing those players is going to be our key, and we're going to have a good season this year. Definitely expect to make a run.
Henry, you lost players to graduation, of course, as any team would, but you were telling us you had heavy losses to graduation. But still, this is a team with experience, and again, the core of this team can say you're FCAC champions, so I'm sure that has to be part of the goal for this team.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, losing 14 seniors is always going to be rough, and some people are going to try and write you off after that. But we definitely all believe that we can repeat the success of last year.
And Henry, you're one of the few seniors, right, on the team this year. Coming back to last year, and people probably think, Wilton's going to be a little down this year. Is that kind of motivation for you guys?
Yeah, definitely. We actually had about 4 or 5 seniors come out for the team this year who actually got cut last year from JV. They worked so hard over the season, the off season, and during the JV season last year to get where they are now. And Coach Egan didn't cut them; he chose to keep them on the team. Hopefully, they play a role, and I think we're looking good.
We've got some superstitions on this team. Henry said that last year him and 3 other players stood in the same spot during the FCAC championship run. Yeah. What was the spot?
Myself, Glenn O'Brien, and Jack Mastriano all stood on the edge in Harbor Yard there in the same exact spot with our feet in the same exact spot during while we were batting, and clearly it paid off.
What type of team is this? What kind of group are you?
We're fighters. We're definitely expecting to do well this season, expecting to repeat success, and I definitely think we all have the heart to be able to do it.
How about in terms of this team being fun or kind of quirks about this team? What is this group like in that regard?
Oh, this team is great. I mean, we've been playing together as a group for a long time. I mean, even just last night, we probably sent about 400 texts in a group chat we had going, and we're laughing the whole time. So it's a really great group to be around.
And Henry's a horoscope reader, according to his forum here. So what happens if you read your horoscope and it's not good for that day?
I'm not really looking for what the horoscope says. It just happened last year that me and Colin were on the bus, and we were looking on Twitter, and some account retweeted a horoscope. And I clicked on it, and I read it, and I started reading other horoscopes, and I was telling Colin about his and stuff. Then we ended up winning that game, so I was like, I have to do it again. And we went on like a 9-game winning streak, so that kind of became a tradition for us.
Nice.
It all worked out pretty well. Congratulations on being defending champions, and I know for our entire crew that was a highlight game for all of us, so good luck this season, and have a great year out there. We wish the Warriors the best of luck in baseball, and we'll see if they can defend their title. We're with the Wilton Warriors baseball team at Wilton High School on the HAN Network.